You've seen how the leaders of nations are guarded as if they were fortresses. But what if I told you that there are pastors with security so tight that even Donald Trump was amazed? From armored convoys to biometric surveillance, these spiritual leaders don't just preach in front of large crowds. They move under extremely tight security. And there's one pastor whose protection system is so secretive that it has never been officially confirmed. Watch until the end because the final level of security is something you wouldn't expect. But before we start, if you're new to our channel, make sure to subscribe so you'll always be updated with videos like this. Pastor Stephen Joseph. Even before the sermon started, before the first word was spoken from the pulpit, a motorcade had already arrived. There were two decoy vehicles, a lead vehicle, and a black SUV without a license plate. The side door opened, but nothing happened at first. Two men in civilian clothes were the first to get out. One carefully scanned the people around while the other gave a silent signal. Only after that did Pastor Stephen Joseph come out calm. He was smiling and surrounded by an invisible wall of authority. According to witnesses, a former president of the United States watched the entire operation. It is said that even Donald Trump, who was used to Secret Service coordination, was visibly impressed by the level of security. And there really is a reason Pastor Stephen Joseph's security isn't just high level. It can be compared to the security of a president, and perhaps even more. His security detail includes former members of the Special Forces who are experts in counter surveillance and rapid evacuation in case of threats. They move quietly in formation, using earpieces connected to encrypted frequencies, not ordinary radio communication. They also use multi-layer threat modeling, a system adapted from military conflict zones and international political summits. His vehicle is a customized armored Mercedes Maybach SS 680 with VR-10 ballistic protection, a self-sealing fuel tank, and a separate oxygen supply system, just like those used in diplomatic convoys in high-risk areas. It's estimated to cost between $1.8 to $2 million, not including the special modifications. But security doesn't end with the vehicle. Every entry and exit he makes is planned down to the minute. The layout of the venue is first inspected, local cellular networks are scanned for any suspicious activity, and facial recognition software is used to monitor the movements of attendees. It automatically identifies people who repeatedly appear or display unusual behavior. This isn't just a simple precaution, it's part of their standard protocol. Although some people question whether this level of security is really necessary for a pastor, his close associates insisted that being well-known comes with certain risks. His influence reaches different countries, and his sermons are attended by tens of thousands of people. He is no longer just a spiritual leader. He is also a possible target on a much broader scale. What's even more surprising is that you can hardly notice his security team. They quietly blend into the surroundings. No shouting, no show of force, just careful, precise, and planned movements, only acting when necessary. Do you think this level of security is appropriate for a pastor, or is it only for a president? Because what we're going to discuss next is another ministry with a global TV network, a biometric gate, and surveillance drones flying overhead. And this isn't owned by a government, it's a church. Pastor Chris Oyakilome, no one can enter without verification. That is the unspoken policy at every large gathering led by Pastor Chris Oyakilome. From Lagos to London, Johannesburg to Houston, his gatherings attract crowds as large as those at major music festivals. And along with the massive crowds comes a risk that only a few ministries are prepared to face. Although what happens on stage is spiritual, the surrounding security is organized and well-planned. Attendees usually pass through biometric gates first, where facial recognition software quietly scans their faces and compares them to watch lists. This is not a rumor. In some selected venues, this is the usual process. Thermal scanners are also used to detect unusual movements and abnormal body heat signatures. The facial data of attendees is collected in real time, and compared to behavioral algorithms developed in collaboration with private defense contractors. These are not just ordinary security guards. This is security intelligence on another level. In the air above the venue, surveillance drones are flying. They are equipped with high-definition zoom cameras and aerial crowd mapping software. From a hidden mobile command unit, they are monitoring everything. Unusual movements of people, suspicious groups, and anyone moving quickly within the area. When you are responsible for thousands of lives, continuous monitoring from the air can no longer be ignored. The people behind the operation were not just randomly chosen. Among them are former military analysts, cyber defense consultants, and experts in diplomatic security who have served in global operations. Some are in charge of physical security, while others focus on digital threats such as social media activity, location-tagged posts, and possible data breaches. Their security is not only for the event itself, it covers the entire ministry, and even the communication networks undergo strict filtering. In high-risk regions, they use mobile signal jammers to reduce the possibility of remote detonated devices or other types of external interference. Despite the openness of his ministry, the exact schedule of Pastor Chris's movements is almost never made public. When he travels, he does so quietly. He is protected by armored vehicles that easily blend in with normal traffic flow, while their convoy rarely uses the same route. But their preparations do not end with physical security alone. There is also a digital firewall protecting the ministry's servers, along with teams monitoring for misinformation and ready to respond to smear campaigns or fake event announcements. These are tactics often used to cause chaos at large gatherings, and each sermon is broadcast worldwide. But what happens behind the camera is almost as complicated as what the viewers actually see. It is estimated that the cost of full-spectrum security for a large gathering ranges from $1 to $1.5 million, depending on the country and the level of risk. And because many such events are held each year on different continents, this can no longer be considered occasional protection. This has become an entire security infrastructure. Pastor Chris doesn't just walk around with security accompanying him. He operates within a quiet, carefully planned, and global security system designed not only to protect one person, but to keep an entire movement safe. For Bishop David Oyedepo, preparations begin even before the worshipers arrive. A surveillance check, perimeter sweep, and receipt of the latest intelligence report from the control room are carried out first, a facility built not for show, but for strategy. This is Faith Tabernacle, the headquarters of Bishop David Oyedepo, and the way it operates in terms of security can be compared to a presidential compound. It is located inside Canaan land, a vast complex in Nigeria. Faith Tabernacle is more than just a church. It is a small city that includes Covenant University, various financial institutions, residential areas, and various private infrastructures. During large gatherings, more than 300,000 worshipers can attend, and with such a huge number of people comes a great risk that must be prepared for. Because of this, Bishop Oyedepo's security protocol is very strict. Access to the place is never completely open. The entrances are reinforced and guarded by multiple levels of security, including personnel with military training and undercover agents in civilian clothes. All vehicles entering go through thorough inspections. Some are checked using undercarriage inspection devices, while others are checked using handheld explosive detectors. Bags are passed through an X-ray machine, and facial recognition cameras are integrated into the design of the main gates. Inside the compound, there is a tactical response team trained in riot control, rapid evacuation, and rescue of high-value targets. They move quietly. They are usually dressed like ushers and blend in with the crowd, but they never let their guard down. And even their formation constantly changes depending on the situation around them. Depending on the size of the crowd and the area that can be seen, Bishop David Oyedepo almost never passes through the same route. His convoy, usually led by armored Range Rover Sentinel or Toyota Land Cruiser vehicles equipped with ballistic protection, moves under strict radio silence. The windows of the vehicles are heavily tinted and all communications go through secure communication lines. No schedule of his movements is made public. At large gatherings like Shiloh, an annual event attended by participants from over 100 countries, the entire compound transforms. The place becomes like a city under strict lockdown. National security agencies provide additional support, coordination for airspace monitoring is carried out, and mobile network activity is monitored to detect unusual SIM card usage or suspicious signals. It is a spiritual gathering, but it is managed using protocols commonly used in intelligence operations. It is estimated that more than $2 million is spent each year on security operations throughout Canaan land, including personnel, surveillance infrastructure, and other private tactical assets. But for Bishop Oyedepo, security is not a luxury. It is an essential part of his mission. The safety of his followers and the continuation of his global ministry depend on a system built not only on faith, but also on careful vigilance. Inside the Faith Tabernacle, worship is seen as the center of everything. But behind this is a carefully designed system designed for stability, precise coordination, and complete control. Prophet David O has churches built for worship. There are also those built to be impressive. But Prophet David O's compound seems to be designed for a different purpose: safety. At first glance, you will only see glass, stone, and wide-open spaces. But beneath its peaceful design lies a layered system of security, psychological screening, and preparedness comparable to those used in military operations. Prophet David O is known as a charismatic, controversial, and straightforward preacher. His sermons are often featured in the news, and his statements about healing attract many believers. At the same time, he is also receiving increasing attention, and the number of potential threats is rising too. Because of this, they don't just use a simple RSVP list. His church is a vast campus. The exterior of the headquarters is meticulously designed. There are many alternative exits, and every angle of the building is designed for optimal visibility from the main command points. Between the marble columns and the well-kept gardens, thermal scanners, pressure-sensitive walkways, and AI-powered behavioral monitoring systems are hidden. At the time of registration, each attendee goes through a thorough process. During profiling, this includes gathering basic information, checking previous connections, online activity, and even the smallest facial expressions captured by the facial capture system. People who are considered high risk are never told that they have been flagged. They are quietly denied entry, not because of what they have done, but because of what they might possibly do. Every seat inside the venue is watched by at least one member of the tactical security team. All of them are trained in close quarters defense and crowd containment. They regularly review each member of the tactical security team. All of them are trained in close quarters defense, and their movements are monitored every week. Even the evacuation drill is conducted without disrupting the flow of worship. When the threat level is high, they are on standby at the back. Medical teams and armored vehicles are ready for immediate evacuation. Prophet David O himself almost never enters the same location twice. He usually uses a convoy consisting of armored Lexus LX 600S or highly modified Toyota Land Cruisers. These arrive a few minutes before he goes up on stage. Each vehicle is estimated to cost around $500,000 to $700,000, depending on the configuration. The route of his convoy is chosen only at the last moment. Meanwhile, surveillance drones continuously inspect the rooftops and surrounding areas in real time. But the most important part of his security plan is not the vehicles or the equipment. It's the information. A private security firm is reportedly monitoring digital conversations, assessing threats, and updating security protocols during the sermons. Any mention of his name on the internet, whether positive or negative, is monitored categorized, and recorded. Some say that this level of security is excessive, but for his supporters, it is simply a smart strategy to keep their leaders safe from high risks. However, the result is clear. He is able to speak freely because his protection is not just physical. This is also carefully planned. In your opinion, it is one. This is also carefully planned. Do you think so? Is this level of security too much or just enough for a spiritual leader in the present time? Because the next name on this list does not preach inside buildings. He preaches in wide open fields in front of massive gatherings where the sheer number of people itself becomes the main security challenge. Pastor Alf Lucau. No traditional pulpit, no large dome, no stadium with permanent seats, just a vast space surrounded by a giant sound system, LED tower, and a sea of people coming from every direction. This is how Pastor Alf Lucau preaches. Not within four walls, but in front of a huge crowd of followers. And managing a gathering of this size requires more than just faith. It needs tight control. In gatherings that sometimes reach over 50,000 people, his outdoor crusades resemble a high-risk operation more than an ordinary worship service. Every square meter of the area can be critical. A sudden rush of people or a single wrong step can cause major chaos. But this doesn't happen, because behind the singing, preaching, and shouts of hallelujah, there is a surveillance system that keeps watch non-stop. His group uses AI technology that can analyze the movements of large groups of people in real time. In the sky, drones fly equipped with thermal and high-resolution cameras. It directly sends the live video to mobile command vans positioned in places that are not easily noticeable. The system automatically identifies areas that are drawing attention. It detects unusual human movements and abnormal changes in crowd size even before personnel on the ground notice them. At the venue itself, there are multiple levels of security. Closest to the stage are plainclothes security personnel mingling with the worshippers. They don't have any equipment that would easily attract attention, but all of them are connected to a single encrypted communication system. Their main duty is not just to respond when an incident occurs. More importantly, it's to proactively identify potential problems before they happen. Outside the first security ring are personnel trained in riot control and psychological crowd management. They don't use an intimidating presence, no uniforms, no show of force. They quietly position themselves at main pathways, exits, speaker towers, and transport routes. One of the unique features of Pastor Lucau's system is what is called the mirrored structure. For every visible usher, there is a corresponding tactical agent. For every photographer, there is a hidden surveillance specialist. In this way, monitoring can be carried out without affecting the normal flow and energy of the gathering. For transportation and emergency response, they use Toyota Land Cruisers modified by Incas and special Toyota Hilux vehicles, equipped with bullet-resistant panels, each estimated to cost over $300,000. There are always ambulances on standby. Possible air evacuation routes have also been approved, and rehearsals of various evacuation protocols are regularly conducted. In a gathering where chaos can start from a small incident, Pastor Alf Lucau's ministry relies on quiet but proactive preparation. It's not enough to simply gather a congregation this large. It also needs to be properly managed, and only a few pastors are able to combine spiritual leadership and the management of such a large number of people with this level of precision. Prophet Hubert Angel. When most religious leaders prepare for a trip, they usually check the travel schedule, confirm the venue, and pray for a safe journey. But Prophet Hubert Angel prepares differently. The first things he checks are the airspace corridors, the pre-arranged hangars, and if necessary, he changes the entire schedule at the last minute. In his world, being easily seen can be a danger. He is known not only as a spiritual leader, but also as a presidential envoy. Because of this, he operates within a complex network of influence that spans from churches to high government offices and sensitive areas in politics. Such a position not only expands his influence, it also increases the level of danger he faces. His movements are kept strictly confidential. The exact time of his arrival is not made public. The use of decoy convoys is a common part of their operations, whether at religious conferences or international meetings. No route is finalized until he himself is already on the move. They alternate between using armored Range Rover Sentinel and Mercedes-Benz G-Class vehicles, so their movements are not easily predicted. Each vehicle is specially modified to withstand ballistic attacks and equipped with electronic escape protocols that allow for immediate route changes when necessary. Depending on the level of armor and electronic countermeasures, each vehicle is estimated to cost around $400,000 to $600,000. But ground security is just one of the many layers of his protection. Private flights are approved through diplomatic processes several days before the trip. This is usually carried out in coordination with airport security and intelligence liaisons in both the country of origin and the destination. Pilots are always changed and every crew member is thoroughly screened. The tail number of his private jet is also regularly changed, and sometimes even the aircraft itself. The Gulfstream G200 he uses is equipped with a secure satellite communication system, encrypted cabin access, and compartments with biometric locks. This is not only for safety, but also for the secure transport of important documents and sensitive information. In terms of digital matters, Angel's ministry also has its own cyber intelligence division. A team of specialists tirelessly monitors online conversations, suspicious posts with geotags, and possible attempts to expose sensitive personal information in real time. Their servers are protected by military-grade firewalls, and every major gathering is matched with a corresponding cybersecurity operation. Because nowadays, information leaks can spread faster than any convoy. Even in public appearances, his security team combines diplomacy and counter-surveillance. Many of the leaders here are former intelligence officers whose job is not only to prevent threats, but also to analyze potential threat patterns. Every entrance is carefully examined to identify any weaknesses. In open venues, they use directional frequency jammers while thermal drones continuously keep watch from above. The movements of attendees are monitored to detect any unusual behavior, and this is quietly flagged without people noticing. The most noticeable thing is the silence of the entire operation. There are no high barricades, no blaring sirens, only careful planning. The paths were cleared before he arrived. Possible interference is prevented before it even starts, and dangers are removed before they become serious problems. In Prophet Weber's Angel's world, security is more than just protection. It is a vast system built across different countries, hidden behind ordinary appearances and designed to keep up with a life that moves faster than the spread of any threat. Over time, some of these pastors are no longer seen just as spiritual leaders. For many, they have become large institutions operating in a world where being well known can also be the greatest danger. Of all the levels of security discussed, which one surprised you the most? Share your opinion in the comments section. And if you want to learn about more lesser-known stories about people with power, influence, and faith, don't forget to subscribe. In our next video, we will examine the secret underground bunkers built for some of the richest people in the world.